What's up guys, XHOUNDISHx here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit of Rise of Iron news. Particularly I want to cover everything relating to progression inside of Rise of Iron, so the new light level, some new gear and new ways that we'll earn gear, which are pretty exciting for Rise of Iron and are very promising for the end game as well. So firstly, the light level is increasing to 385 initially with the release of Rise of Iron, and this is higher than a lot of us anticipated it to be, so that's obviously a very good sign. The raid for Rise of Iron will release on the 23rd of September, which is the Friday of the week that Rise of Iron comes out. And then the hard mode raid will release a number of weeks down the line, and that's going to up the light level for Rise of Iron to 400. So 400 will be the ultimate light level cap for Rise of Iron, which is pretty awesome. We'll be getting some new artifacts inside of Rise of Iron that have some very interesting capabilities, and these will come through a new character called Tyra Khan, and she's a cryptarch in the new social space who also sends us out into the Plaguelands with weekly tasks, which upon completion will gain us an item called the Iron Lord's Legacy. Now the Iron Lord's Legacy will be used to acquire one of 3 artifacts that she has on offer in a given week. I'm assuming you can only do 1 a week, but over the course of 8 weeks we'll see 8 new artifacts available for us to pick up, so it's going to give us quite a lot to collect over that time period, which is pretty cool. And they have some great capabilities which I'll talk about in a moment, but each of them will connect particularly to a deceased Iron Lord, so people like Felwinter, Yolda or Scurry, and they have some pretty cool capabilities as I said before. So right here, the memory of Felwinter. Now this will take away your super but gain you an extra grenade and melee charge, as well as a boost to all of your stats, and orbs will regenerate your grenade and melee abilities. So these are pretty interesting. They have the potential to really change the playstyle or things that you can do with your class. Moving on, we have Memory of Gely, which essentially will give you a detailed radar at all times, and a radar which will persist when aiming primary weapons, so it effectively gives you third eye permanently while it's equipped. We have the Memory of Scurry, which will essentially speed up your super recharge for all nearby allies, so that's pretty cool. These things can feature into kind of team considerations inside of the game, which is awesome. Then we have Memory of Timur, which is very interesting, and this can transform your melee attack, giving it a chance to turn low power minions of the darkness into allies. So, you know, tier 1 enemies could be turned to your advantage, to your side, which is pretty interesting. And then following up with another melee a few seconds later will put them back in their right mind. And this thing will last up to 30 seconds unless you reset it, so that's really interesting. All of these artifacts have some very different capabilities of things that we can do in the game, and it's stuff that I really didn't anticipate would be in the expansion, so that's pretty exciting. We'll also see a new item inside of Rise of Iron called Skeleton Key, and these will drop from playing strikes, including the Nightfall strike. And what these enable you to do is open a strike horde. Now strike hordes will spawn at the end of any strike, and when you open one, they're guaranteed to supply 1 strike specific item from that strike. So essentially, if there's something that you really want that you can't get hold of, you can use one of these keys on that specific strike for a greatly increased chance of getting the item. I don't imagine skeleton keys will be raining from the sky though. Perhaps we'll see 1 every 10 or so strikes that you play, or maybe even less than that. They are of course designed to be held onto for that specific thing that you want to try and get hold of. It's not kind of a 3 of coins type affair. But either way, it's pretty exciting, and it puts a lot more replayability, especially if we're going to continue to see modifiers on strikes and sort of high rep gains and everything like that. It's a great thing for replayability of any type of strike, really. On the subject of strikes, we have 2 strikes remade in this expansion. So the Devil's Lair is now called Sepix Perfected, and the Summoning Pits is now the Abomination Heist. We also heard a little bit about something called Ornaments, and these are going to be a new aesthetic feature which allow you to customize and change particular armor pieces, as well as the appearance of exotic weapons, which is very interesting. So essentially these sound like skins. You'll be able to make certain armors or weapons look a little bit different or change in geometry in some way, which is really interesting and pretty cool, because when you consider how much new gear there will be and how much infusion we can do, it's a really good opportunity for everyone to kind of amplify things they like about the look of a particular character and look a little bit different to everyone else. These things won't be super easy to get hold of though necessarily. The ones from Trials of Osiris, for example, will only be gained on flawless runs, so if you want to modify Trials of Osiris gear, you will have to get them on flawless runs, and I'm assuming we'll see them be somewhat challenging throughout other activities as well. Inside of the new expansion, there's also going to be the Rise of Iron record book, and very similar to SRL or the Moments of Triumph, this will track progress, but this is going to do it across the entire expansion, so you'll be able to register every significant thing that you do inside of this book, and it'll unlock new rewards. So the full Iron Lord armor set will come via this book. We'll see multiple emblems, and there's also a new ghost shell called the Iron Song. So it's going to be cool and definitely add to the progression system that you can do this throughout the entire year, and I would be pretty certain that this will probably factor into any year 3 Moments of Triumph or, end of Destiny rewards that we might see at the end of year 3. We'll also see a new character at the Iron Temple called Shiro 4, and he's one of Cade 6's scouts. Essentially, he'll send you out on missions for Cade and the Vanguard, and he'll have some exclusive Rise of Iron bounties. We're not sure what rewards we can hope to get from these yet, but I'm sure we'll see in the near future. Some events that we saw last year have also been confirmed coming up in a few months. So we'll see Festival of the Lost returning in October, and then we'll also see a revamped SRL planned for December. We'll see the return of Sparrow Racing League, but it's also going to be part of a bigger event that's going on at the same time, which is pretty cool. The Sparrow Racing League section itself will have tweaks to existing tracks as well as new tracks inspired by Rise of Iron's environment. So that's pretty awesome. We know that there's more events and content coming later on down the line to keep us busy. For me personally, the stuff that they're adding into this expansion really looks pretty awesome. It's very fleshed out. There's a lot of different progression systems going off at the same time, ways of earning loot, stuff that's time gated like we saw in the Taken King, and when you consider what we've seen right here, this is basically on top of the vanilla stuff that's now kind of a standard thing in Destiny. So exotic quests, new weapons, gear, the raid, everything like that. So Rise of Iron is going to be a pretty expansive DLC by the looks of things. When we first started getting glimpses of Rise of Iron, because of the way Bungie was talking about them, people started to sort of anticipate that Rise of Iron may not be kind of that fleshed out and is maybe going to be closer to like a House of Wars type expansion. Seeing all of this right here, they've definitely taken a lot of what they've learned, throughout vanilla Destiny, the Taken King events, the April update, and it's really culminating right here into some really awesome progression systems, amounts of content and stuff that kind of happens week to week inside of Destiny. So for me, this stuff is really important and very exciting. So there you go, guys. I just wanted to break down some of this particularly interesting stuff to me in terms of progression. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed the video, a like is always appreciated, and if you guys are new to my channel, be sure to hit subscribe. I cover everything relating to Destiny and all of the Rise of Iron news. But for now, you guys have an awesome day.